When filming a conversation, you need to make sure that you, the filmmaker, are well aware of the 180-degree rule. What is that? Well, essentially, there is an invisible line that runs between your characters. It works when you've got just 2 characters on screen, it works when you've got 5 characters. As long as you're addressing the line that runs between the characters, you'll be fine. In my previous video, I showed you how to film a basic conversation between 2 characters using 3 camera angles. The first shot I showed you was a 2 shot. This showed you where each character was in relation to each other. It showed both characters on screen with character A looking to frame left and character B looking to frame right. This is then matched continuity-wise in the single shots of those characters. So when you're looking at character A, character B is on the screen, but to the left of frame. That means that character A is looking from screen right to screen left. They are looking to the left of frame. And the same goes for character B. Character B is on the left of the frame, character A is on the right of the frame. Character B is looking from screen left to screen right. Again, matches the continuity of the 2 shot. If you do happen to cross the line, then you can risk disorientating your audience. Now, it's not the end of the world, but it does mean that they might take a bit of time to comprehend what's going on. There are some reasons why breaking the line might be beneficial towards the story, however. Stargirl is a DC superhero show, and in the latest episode, episode 11 of series 1, towards the end, 2 characters, Courtney, who plays the titular character, and Pat, who plays her stepdad, are having a conversation. Courtney is very clearly emotional, she's very upset, and Pat is trying to reassure her, he's trying to help her feel better. And it goes from the 2 of them having a conversation where it's back and forth between single shots, to then Pat walks off screen, but then the camera tracks behind Courtney. In all of Pat's shots, you can see Courtney to the left of frame. So when Pat walks out of the frame to the left, the camera tracks behind Courtney to put her on the right of frame. Now, this alone shows that the dynamic of the scene has changed. Things are different now. The emotional connection between the 2 characters is different to what it was a few seconds earlier. By having this very simple move, you've then explained to the audience that the dynamic has changed, but then you don't need to address it directly. If people pick up on it, then great, but it's not something that massively affects the scene to the point where without it, it doesn't work. Another example of this is the film Ex Machina. One of the times where the characters of Caleb and Ava interact with each other, Caleb is within a sort of glass perspex box. Ava is outside of this box. The conversation starts with Caleb's back towards Ava and he keeps looking over his shoulder to answer her questions. As the question she asks becomes more and more personal and he starts to open up to her, the camera moves across the line to show that Caleb is opening up. And this is very clearly represented by the fact that towards the end of the scene, we are seeing the front of Caleb. He's no longer looking over his shoulder, he's opened up to Ava. So now she is looking face to face with him without him having to look over his shoulder all the time. So he's no longer being defensive, he's accepting her character. He's showing that he feels comfortable with her. Both of these scenes cross the line using camera movement. They go from one side to the other without cutting. That shows the audience that things have changed. If you just cut from one side to the other, you can lose the audience and you can disorientate them. By keeping to the rule and staying on one side of the line, you give the impression to the audience that things are in control. By cutting constantly from one side to the other, you can give the impression of chaos to the audience. So say the police break into someone's house, they don't expect that, so they're cutting across the line to show this person is just very confused as to what's happening. If you do need to cross the line to help further your story, or you just want to show an emotional change in the scene, but you don't have the ability to have a movement across the line in a single shot, then another way you could get around it is by having a neutral shot, which is essentially having the 2 shot establishing where the characters are in regards to each other, and then cutting. Don't just cut from a single shot to a single shot and crossing the line in that cut unless you really intend to do it. I'm going to leave it there. So if you learned something or you enjoyed it, then please consider subscribing. If you liked it, then give it a thumbs up. And if you've got anything you'd like me to address, say certain topics or whatever, then drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you whenever.